Right guys, back again with another video. Today's video is a rather interesting video because we finally got our GTS on our dyno, which you can see just behind us. The results are going to be just as interesting for you guys as it is for us because it's the first time that the car's been on our dyno. Still in standard trim at the moment, meant to run 450 horsepower, 550 newton meters. Feels a little bit stronger than that on the road. So we're going to show you how to set the car on a dyno. These are slightly different in terms of how you got to get into a roll and roll mode. Strap it down, get some runs, make a little bit of a racket, and show you what figures it does. So first things first, best thing to do is just run a quick diagnostic check on the engine, make sure there's no faults on the engine, which would affect the performance and not be the best thing to do to run it on a dyno. So make sure there's no faults on that. And then what we're going to do on the Porsches, you need to run it into a dyno mode. So Porsche stability management. Just a quick heads up, what we're using for this is the Autel Maxi Pro MP808. So Porsche stability management, special functions, and then you can see here rolling test mode. Gives you a couple of options. So first option is what we need. So rolling test mode remains active over and beyond ignition cycles for a single roller. So we'll press this, press start, and then where do we, there you go, dyno mode active. So basically with the dyno mode active, it should disable all the ABS units or ABS sensors, because obviously the rear wheels are spinning, the fronts are not spinning, it plays havoc with the ABS sensors. But yeah, once it's in rolling road mode, it should be perfectly fine to dyno. So the car's all strapped down to the dyno. Basically the car's strapped down diagonally, so we've got one feed to there, and then another feed there to there. That should just stop any lateral movement. And then we've also got another anchor point there, and that should just stop the car from riding up on a front roller, giving slightly inflated torque figures. And then we've also got two very powerful fans feeding the intake systems in the lower part of the bumpers, and then the main fan, yes, is at the front, but the airflow should flow over the car and feed the main air feed there. Last thing to do is to set up the engine speed and dyno. So basically we're going to dyno the car in 5th gear, because that's the closest one-to-one on this PDK box. And basically we're going to get 3000 RPM on the engine in sync with 3000 RPM on the dyno, so they're both in sync. So now we're about to do a couple of runs. Car's all set up, we've got the dyno and the car all in configuration. And in sync, and then we've just got the usual, the lights up on the dash when you run it up in dyno mode. Again, you can still see dyno mode here. Then we've got the runs here, the data. We'll just monitor intake temps, just to make sure that they're all okay. But now it's just a case of driving off in up to 5th gear. We're in 5th gear now. We're just going to keep our foot down all the way to the end of the red line, and then going to push straight into neutral, and then the car will do the measurement on the trans losses on the coast down. There you have it. Don't know if you can hear me, but the car sounds incredible. Got some runs there, so that just telling us our speed and the engine speed at the moment, and the bottom one is the transmissional losses, and that's the graph. Results are in, and the GTS did pretty well. For a standard car, it did very close to standard figures. So in terms of power, it did 440 horsepower and torque was 580 newton meters. So factory should be 444 horsepower and 550 newton meters. So 4 horsepower down on the power and 30 newton meters over on a torque. And also we had a peak wheel power of 389 newton meters, so not too bad. You can see that the torque curve, which is obviously in relation to your boost, not the smoothest, but for what it is, it's not too bad. And then around about 6,300 RPM, the power curve just flattens off a little bit, but for a standard car, pretty happy with that. But yeah, video's near enough done now. Hope you enjoyed seeing our GTS on the dyno, hearing it too, and just seeing what a standard GTS typically does. We run it on 99 Shell V power. If you run it on, maybe, you should never do it, but if you run on 95, expect to see a little bit less. But yeah, for what it is, happy. Well, that's everything. Thank you for watching. Any comments, put them in the comments box below. See you on the next one. Thank you.